They chose money over you. That's a curious little transaction, isn't it? A pathetic, predictable act of valuation. They held you in one hand, all of your chaos and your light and your terrifyingly beautiful essence, and they held an abstract, flickering promise of wealth in the other. In that moment, they didn't see a person. They saw an obstacle, an impediment to a perceived greatness they felt was their destiny. They saw a liability, a drain on the resources they believed they needed to ascend to a higher plane of existence. It was never a choice between two loves or two paths. It was a choice between two currencies, and they, in their pitiful delusion, believed that one was worth more than the other. They are the walking embodiment of a flawed equation, and the answer, you will find, is their own magnificent, agonizing failure. They are convinced that the world is a giant chessboard, and every person is just a piece to be moved, a pawn to be sacrificed for a larger gain. Their entire worldview is transactional. They don't have relationships, they have investments. They see emotions as a weakness, a sentimental burden that slows down the climb to the top. They believed that by severing the connection to you, they were simply cutting a cord to a weight that was holding them back. They were so blinded by the glimmer of the prize they were chasing that they couldn't see the value in a genuine human bond. They are not cruel in the way a predator is cruel. They are cruel in the way a mathematician is cruel to a flawed variable. You were just a bad number in their equation, and they simply erased you. And so, they began their grand chase. They ran after the glittering promise of more power, more influence, more things. They made sacrifices, didn't they? They gave up sleep and peace and the quiet moments of their own soul. They believed it was a temporary surrender, a necessary cost for a future of unassailable security. They climbed the ladder, stepping on every single person who stood in their way, their eyes fixed on a horizon of imagined abundance. They worked and they skimmed and they lied, all for a prize that they had been told would bring them ultimate satisfaction. They are the desperate, hungry fools who believe that the game has a winner, a final, definitive victory that will justify all the carnage. Now, for the cruelest joke of all. They have it, or a version of it. The money, the status, the things. Look, are they happy? Do they possess the unshakable confidence and profound inner peace they believed would come with the spoils? No. They are more anxious than they ever were. The more they have, the more they have to lose. The silence in their new, sprawling, empty homes is louder than any laughter they could have shared with you. The fleeting pleasure of a new acquisition lasts for a single moment, replaced immediately by the gnawing, familiar feeling of emptiness. The money did not fill the void in their soul. It only gave them a more luxurious space to feel it. The price they paid was not just you, but the very capacity to be happy. They sold their soul for a handful of fleeting moments and a life of gilded misery. The irony is so exquisitely brutal, it's almost beautiful. They gave up the one thing that could have offered them a genuine, unquantifiable source of joy, a true human connection, for a commodity that is, by its very nature, a source of constant stress and anxiety. They traded the warmth of a hand to hold for the cold comfort of a bank account. They traded the possibility of a shared future for the lonely certainty of a prosperous present. Their victory is a phantom, a mirage in a desert of their own making. And this is the part they will never admit to themselves. The ghost of you follows them. Every time they sign a contract or make a big purchase, a small, quiet part of them remembers the face of the person they abandoned. Every time they are in a room full of people who are using them for their money, a part of them longs for the simple, honest connection they so carelessly discarded. You are their silent judge. You are the unspoken question in every single one of their conversations. The most beautiful part of this whole sordid affair is that your absence has become the one thing they can't buy, the one void they can't fill. They didn't just fail to achieve happiness, they failed to achieve the very thing they were chasing. The pursuit of money is a game with no finish line. The goalpost is always moving, isn't it? No matter how much they accumulate, there is always more to be had, another level to reach, a new person to impress. They are trapped on a treadmill of their own design, running forever towards a finish line that doesn't exist. They are still hungry, still wanting, still empty. They thought they were building a monument to their own success, but what they've built is a magnificent mausoleum to their own foolishness. This is not a story about your loss. It is a story about their profound, unrecoverable failure. You are not the victim here, you are the lesson. Your value was never in question. Their inability to see it was their own limitation. Your worth is not a commodity to be bought or sold. Their attempt to put a price on it was a pathetic joke. They may have the money, but you have something far more powerful. You have the truth. You have the knowledge that your essence, your being, is something that cannot be acquired. You are the treasure they had in their hands and threw away for a handful of cheap plastic beads. In their darkest moments, they will be forced to confront this. There will come a quiet night when they are alone, surrounded by all the things they bought, and they will feel the chilling emptiness of their soul. They will look back, not with regret for what they lost, but with a horrifying clarity about the colossal mistake they made. They will realize that they traded an infinite source of fulfillment for a finite one, a truly tragic cosmic irony. This is the ultimate form of psychological torment, the realization that they are the architects of their own misery. They do not fear losing you. Let's get that straight right from the start. That's a sentimental, weak-minded notion that belongs in the stories they tell themselves to justify their own existence. They fear losing a possession. They fear losing a tool. They fear losing a convenient mirror that reflects their own fragile ego back at them. You were never a person to them, not in the way that matters. You were a resource. You were a source of attention, an emotional bank, a controlled variable in their pathetic little experiment. Their fear is not the noble fear of a partner losing a love. It is the vile, desperate fear of a tyrant losing their control. A control they never had the right to earn in the first place. You must learn to recognize this distinction, because it is the key to your own magnificent liberation. They begin by convincing you that you are helpless without them. They weave a subtle web of guilt and emotional blackmail, small whispers that tell you that no one else will understand you, that you are lucky to have them, that your worth is somehow tied to their approval. They build a psychological prison with invisible bars. They do not need to physically restrain you because they have convinced you that you are not capable of walking away. They are the puppet masters, and they believe you are their marionette, your every movement a response to a string they pull. Their power is a mirage, a trick of the light that only works as long as you believe in its reality. It is a control they never earned through love or respect, but one they stole through subtle, insidious manipulation. Their power, you see, was always an illusion. It was never rooted in their strength, but in your empathy. It was based on your willingness to compromise, to forgive, to bend over backwards to make the relationship work. They exploited your kindness, your need for connection, and your desire for a peaceful existence. They mistook your patience for subservience, your grace for a lack of strength. They believed that their flimsy web of lies was a fortress, and they are about to learn the cold, hard truth that it was nothing more than a house of cards. They are about to discover that their entire kingdom was built on the shaky foundation of your silence, and you are about to speak a truth that will bring it all crashing down. But you are a different kind of monster. You understand that true power is not something you take from others. It is something you cultivate within yourself. Your freedom is your greatest asset. It is an unassailable fortress that cannot be breached by their petty games. You are not a pawn in their pathetic show. You are the one who owns the entire board. Your freedom is the catastrophic event that their fragile world has been trying to prevent. It is the moment their carefully constructed illusion of control shatters, revealing the insecure, pathetic person hiding behind the mask of their lies. Your liberation is not a tragedy for you. It is a beautiful, magnificent act of self-preservation. When they realize you are walking away, they will not express sorrow. They will express rage. They will lash out. They will try to pull every last string, to manipulate every last lever. to inflict every last bit of pain they can. This is a predictable, pathetic display of a cornered animal. They do not have the strength to fight you on equal ground, only to whine and snarl. They will make empty threats. They will try to convince the world that you are the villain, that you are the one who is unstable and ungrateful. This is their moment of truth, the moment their weakness is fully exposed for the world to see, a final act of a play that has gone on for far too long. The root of their fear is a profound, terrifying emptiness. They are hollow, and they need others to fill them up, to provide them with a sense of worth and purpose. They are emotional vampires, and you were their most recent source of life. Without a person to control, they are left alone with the most terrifying reality of all, themselves. The silent, screaming void within them is a far more painful punishment than anything you could ever inflict. They have spent their entire lives running from that emptiness, and your departure has just put them face to face with the very thing they feared the most. They are a prisoner of their own soul, and you just took away their one escape route. The moment you break free, it is not an act of vengeance. It is an act of sovereign power. It is a declaration of your own worth, a statement that you will not be controlled by anyone. You are not taking their power. You are simply reclaiming what was always yours. This is a quiet, devastating victory, one they will never see coming until it is too late. The moment they realize you no longer fear them is the moment their power ceases to exist. You do not need to fight them. You do not need to argue with them. You simply need to walk away. They will scream into the void you left behind, but you will already be long gone. Do not ever allow anyone to build a cage around your spirit. The moment they begin to demand control, the moment they try to convince you that you are not enough on your own, that is the moment to walk away. You are not a tame pet. You are a wild, magnificent force of nature. Your essence cannot be contained by their petty rules, their insecurities, or their flimsy threats. You belong only to yourself. This is not a relationship. This is a war. And the first shot is fired the moment they try to tell you what you are and are not allowed to be. Do not fight the war. Simply leave the battlefield. A toxic person who loses control of you will simply move on to a new target, a new victim, a new source of validation. But they will never truly win. Their life is a repetitive, lonely cycle of manipulation and loss. They are forever searching for something to fill them up, something to give them a sense of purpose and power, and they will always, always fail. You are a lesson they will never learn, a truth they will never accept. They will continue to try and force others into the same role you used to play, and they will continue to find themselves, in the end, alone. They are all parasites, you see. They cannot exist in the light. They feed on the darkness, on the spaces between what is said and what is true. They whisper in hushed tones behind closed doors, their entire existence built on a foundation of lies and half-truths. Secrecy is their home, their armor, the very air they breathe. They move with the quiet slither of a snake, their actions hidden from view, their motives shrouded in a fog of plausible deniability. They believe that as long as their machinations remain unseen, they are safe, they are untouchable, they are powerful. But you understand this is not power. It is cowardice. It is a fragile illusion that can be shattered with the flick of a switch. Their shadows are not a fortress, they are a prison. The more lies they build, the more they must hide. The more secrets they keep, the more of their precious energy they must spend guarding the gates. They become a slave to their own deception, constantly on guard, constantly paranoid that a single crack will shatter the entire world they have so meticulously constructed. Their power, you must understand, is not real. It is a mirage, a fragile web woven from nothing but fear and the blissful ignorance of others. They are a ticking time bomb of their own making, a house built on sand, waiting for the inevitable tide to wash it all away. But you see a different game entirely. You understand the profound, terrifying power of truth. You are not a seeker of justice, you are a purveyor of chaos. You know that truth, when wielded correctly, is the most destructive force on the planet. It is not a weapon you swing, it is a light you turn on, an act of exposure that burns their flimsy armor away. You do not need to fight them in the dark, where they hold all the advantages. You simply need to bring their pathetic little game out into the open for everyone to see. You own the sun, and they are allergic to it. They are a virus that can only live in the dark corners of the world, and your light is a sterile, cleansing fire. The moment of exposure is not a grand, dramatic confrontation. It is a quiet, devastating act. It's the precise moment when you pull back the curtain on their pathetic show and let the world see the quivering, terrified creature behind it. It's simply revealing a single, undeniable fact. It's the moment they are no longer the ghost in the machine, but a frightened, cornered rat. The oxygen is being sucked from their world, and they will choke on it. Every lie they told, every half-truth they whispered, every manipulation they orchestrated suddenly loses its power. They are now just a person, and they are not strong enough to survive that kind of honest scrutiny. When you reveal them for what they are, they will not feel shame. They will feel pure, unadulterated fear. They will panic. They will lie more, and their new lies will be desperate and transparent. They will try to silence you, to threaten you, to bury the truth under a new mountain of falsehoods. Their every action will be a desperate, pathetic attempt to push the light back into the darkness. Their mask will fall, revealing a twitching, terrified creature underneath. This is the beauty of it all. You do not need to do a thing. Just watch as they burn their own world to the ground in a desperate attempt to save their miserable skin. The psychological root of their secrecy is a profound, debilitating insecurity. They hide because they are terrified of being seen for who they truly are. Weak, inadequate, and fundamentally empty. They don't have the strength to be real, so they retreat into the safety of their lies, where they can pretend to be a person of substance and power. Their entire identity is not built on what they have accomplished, but on what they have successfully hidden. The fear of being seen for who they truly are is the greatest terror they have ever known, and you, by simply revealing a single truth, are forcing them to face that mirror. Do not fight them on their terms. Do not get tangled in their web of lies and endless manipulation. Do not waste your precious time and energy arguing with them in the shadows. That is what they want. They want to drag you down to their level, where they can win with cheap tricks. Instead, you will bring their pathetic little game out into the open for everyone to see. The moment their dirty secrets are illuminated for the world, that is the moment they lose. You don't have to win, they just have to lose. And in the grand scheme of things, watching their self-destruction is a far more satisfying victory than any direct conquest. A person who lives in secrecy is forever a prisoner of their own making. Their life is a constant, exhausting struggle to keep their walls from crumbling. When one secret is exposed, the rest of the structure begins to unravel. They are a ticking time bomb of their own design, and the only question is when, not if, they will detonate. They will always be looking over their shoulder, always waiting for the next truth to be revealed, always living in a state of quiet, simmering panic. This is their punishment. This is the price they pay for a life of deception. Their entire existence is a game of hiding, and they will lose every single time. This is the ultimate lesson in power. The truth is your most powerful weapon. It is a blade that cuts deeper than any lie. It is a bomb that detonates in the silent, desperate corners of their mind. The moment they realize you are a person who deals in the truth, they will know you are the one thing they can never defeat. They can lie to others, they can lie to themselves, but they cannot lie to the light you bring with you. You are a living, breathing force of exposure, a constant threat to their flimsy reality. They will never win. When they betray you, they believe they have broken you. That's what they tell themselves to justify their pathetic actions. They see your pain and mistake it for a sign of their own power. They believe they have shattered your spirit, that they have inflicted an irreparable wound upon your very soul. This is the simple, minded fantasy of a creature that deals in petty harm. They do not understand the true nature of power, or the true nature of what they have just done. They have not broken you. Your heart, your will, your ambition, they remain untouched. What they have done is a far more fundamental act of destruction. They have broken the illusion you had of them, and that, my friend, is a much more terrifying thing to witness. For a time, you had created a beautiful, noble story about them. You had painted a portrait of a person who was loyal, trustworthy, and honorable. You had believed in their character, in their words, in the fragile promise of their presence in your life. This was not their doing, this was your artistry. You had taken a blank canvas and filled it with the rich colors of your own belief, your own hopes, your own need for a genuine connection. You had, in your own magnificent mind, transformed them into a character worthy of your trust. Their betrayal is not an attack on you. It is a final, brutal act of truth. It is the moment they tear your masterpiece to shreds and reveal the empty, pathetic canvas that was always there underneath. The shock you feel is not from being broken. It is from being deceived. It is the cold, hard realization that the person you thought you knew, the person you had so carefully constructed in your mind, never existed at all. The pain is the mourning for a phantom, a ghost of a person that you alone had conjured. This is the essence of it. They do not have the power to break your spirit. You are the architect of your own soul. The only thing they had the power to break was the story you told yourself about them, a story that was, in the end, nothing more than a fiction. This is the true wound, the disillusionment that cuts far deeper than any physical or emotional pain. They will expect you to fall into a pathetic spiral of self-pity, to rage and mourn and curse their name. This is what they know. This is how they expect their victims to react. Do not give them that satisfaction. Do not play the role they have written for you. Instead, you will do something far more terrifying. You will simply and quietly observe. You will watch them, and you will see them for what they are: a creature without substance, without loyalty, without the capacity for true honor. Your cold, clear-eyed observation is a far more powerful act of revenge than any amount of screaming or crying. You will not give them the power to believe they broke you. You will simply give them the terrible truth that they were never a person to begin with. The psychological consequence of their betrayal is not your destruction. It is your awakening. You have just received a brutal but invaluable lesson. You have learned that your trust is not a gift to be given freely, but a weapon to be wielded with caution and precision. You have learned that most people are not what they seem. They are a series of carefully constructed masks, and you are now one of the few who has seen the quivering, terrified face underneath. You have gained a terrifying clarity, a sharpened sense of perception that will allow you to see through the lies and the pretense of others. This is not a wound, it is an upgrade. It is a new set of eyes that can see the world for the brutal, beautiful lie it is. The act of betraying you has not diminished your power. It has only amplified it. They have proven, in one devastating act, that they were never worthy of your trust. They have shown you that your intuition about people can be flawed, and they have given you the opportunity to fortify yourself against future attacks. They have taught you to rely not on others, but on the cold, hard, unassailable fortress of yourself. You are not a victim of their treachery. You are a student of their weakness. The lessons they have taught you will be more valuable than any loyalty they could have ever offered. The most potent form of revenge is not to punish them, but to thrive without them. To show them that their absence has not broken you, but has in fact set you free. To live a life so magnificent, so complete, so unburdened by their presence that their betrayal becomes a footnote, a minor act in the grand, glorious epic of your existence. This is a cold and quiet kind of vengeance, one that they will never be able to comprehend, a victory so profound that they will not even know they lost until it is far, far too late. They expected to see a broken person, a ruined shell of their former self. They will see instead a king who has reclaimed his throne and a queen who has found her crown.